Legislator Gilbert,
Here.
Legislator Chartrand,
Here.
Legislator Morahan,
Here.
Legislator Kulzer,
Here.
Legislator Osborne,
Here.
Legislator King, Jerry, you're on mute, but I can see you, so. Legislator Dahlhoff.
I'm here.
Okay.
So I'm going to not do the invocation or the pledge this morning.
Knock this volume down a tiny bit.
With the pledge, I'm not sure if everyone has a flag, but if everyone could make an attempt to do that, have a flag in wherever your room is set up so that we could the allegiance move forward. Report of the Finance and Rules Committee per Rule 6. Sandra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Rules Committee has met and they recommend to waive rules to act upon late resolutions.
Need a motion? Accept.
I'll make it.
Okay, Greg, someone would like to second it?
Yeah.
Second by Phil. Any? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I see no one opposed. Motion carries. Okay, so under privilege of the floor this morning, we have basically 3 items. The first one being proposed Jefferson Lewis County LED lighting upgrade plan. There will be 2 of those, 15 minutes each, consecutive. And the second one is a local law providing for increase to salaries for certain local officials. Did you receive any correspondence on either one of those issues, Cassandra, from the public?
Mr. Chairman, I did not receive any by email or by mail, but I would ask that, Connor, make sure to monitor the chat feature in case anybody wants to do it via our live stream.
Thank you.
Understood. I will be monitoring that.
Okay, so Sheriff, did you have any comments on either one of those issues?
Either one of what issues? Yeah, what issue you talking about?
The 3 public laws. If you don't have any comments on those, I will open the privilege of the floor to anyone who would like to speak. And I would assume that that's right. So you had the floor.
I have the floor.
You have the floor, Sheriff. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Chairman. Okay. Yeah, I guess there's 2 things in question. One would be that we had a deputy resign, and we're going to reappoint another deputy. And I understand that there may be a problem with that, and I'd like to know why there is.
Well, privilege of the floor is not supposed to be a debate or a conversation or dialogue going back and forth. I can say that, we have not done anything with that position. We haven't moved on it. And there's no attempt to abolish that position. Right now, our priorities are for public safety with respect to COVID. And so we're prioritizing that. And
What does that have to do with
just going through the normal legislative process with respect to filling positions?
Right. Well, that's what I was told to be here for today. So if I'm going to be silenced, what is the sense of me being here today?
No one has silenced you at all.
You certainly have. I'm here to
Or
talk about why we don't have,
to say what you
why
would like to say.
why we're not putting another deputy in that position that's always been there before even I was sheriff. So we have somebody that we're ready to put in place. It's hard for us to function and give the community the safe policing that they need without having that deputy in place. And I came here to find out why it's not being done. That's what I was told to you today. That was per the county manager as part of the discussion. So I don't know why you guys are on the same page, but I think we got to get our act together here.
Well, Sheriff, you had asked when would you have an opportunity to address the board, and I said you could have an opportunity this morning to address the board, which you have.
Yep.
Would say that we will take your comments into consideration at the next committee meeting when we are thinking of addressing your issue.
So that will be when, sir? In January?
Correct.
Very good. So in the meantime, we're down a position. We don't have anybody covering that, which means I'll have to utilize overtime then to try to fill in any place that I can. Is that correct?
Well, what is the status of the school resource officers? I know that at least one and probably more schools, and if they're not already remote at this point, they will be shortly. So why can't those SR officers be utilized as deputies in the meantime?
Well, that's going to be up to the schools. It's going to be up to the contract which you signed and I signed with the schools. But that's a moot point, though, sir. You're still are decreasing my force without any reason, and you've given none. So you're actually holding back on the people, agreeing with the Black Lives Matter and Antifa with defunding the police department. That's exactly what's happening here. We know that. So, if we want to go down that line, we can, and we can go publicly with it, and that's fine.
We have not defunded you whatsoever. In fact,
Well, then why don't you go ahead and give me
major increases
that need to be replaced?
We have not abolished that position, and probably that position will be filled.
And when will that be, sir? So in the meantime, I will use overtime to fill that position then.
I'm not going to comment on overtime. I believe that you probably don't personally need to use overtime, but.
So you don't run my agency. I do. And that makes it very difficult for you to try to say what you're saying there to everybody. So the issue is, like I said, I'd like to have an answer very soon before January in regards to refilling that position of the deputy who resigned and not using this as a pressure point for other things that the community is not aware of. So I respectfully ask you to refill that position as soon as possible.
And we will take your comments into consideration. So, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind if I just raise a couple questions with the sheriff? Because I know I haven't had a chance to discuss it with him. I know we've got a busy schedule today, but.
Go ahead.
Is that all right? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. You have the floor.
And Sheriff, from my perspective, and obviously everybody's got their own kind of view on things here. I'm not viewing anything like this as being punitive, and our hope is that we'd be able to fill the position pretty quickly. I'd be curious to know, and just because we're hearing certain things from our departments, if we have a situation where there's a public health individual, a nurse or someone in the department who needs to do a wellness check, and let's say they feel as though they might be entering into a dangerous situation, go into a home where they're not sure how the person's going to respond, and they might request some coverage from your department. What's your policy as far as helping out with that?
When you say a dangerous situation, you have to, go a little further with that, counselor. I also say this: if you're talking in regards to what I've heard and the community doesn't know about what you have been talking about, the departments that you've heard from, the community needs to know that yes, I will stand silently that I haven't been out in any pause enforcement steps you're talking about. And I'll tell you why, in particular, because there are members of the board whose families are directly involved with some of the pause orders. That's one thing. And if I'm going to treat the board that way, I'm going to treat the community the same way. I'm going to treat everybody 100% fair. And I think you know what you're talking about, sir, with the church. And I think that Mr. Dolph knows I'm talking about that with the hardware store. So I, as the sheriff, represent everybody in the county, not just a few, everybody. And I do very much I can to treat everybody in the most fair manner. So back to the discussion, sir, this has nothing to do with filling my position for the deputy that resigned. So I'd like to have that done as soon as possible. And I
Right.
appreciate your,
Part of the discussion right now is, if public health, if we've got officials in public health who are entering into potentially dangerous situations, finding some other avenue to allocate, a security response outside of the sheriff's department. That's sort of the discussion we're having right now.
What,
I guess
what
for
kind
me,
of security response would you have, sir? I mean, I don't think there's, our community is very loving. I haven't seen any dangerous individuals, if you're talking about people that may have or alleged to have the virus that are calling for violence against any healthcare workers. And I would go ahead and assist anybody in the county if they were in fear for their life. So where are you going with that, Counselor?
no, that was, I think you answered my question. It's just if there's a need from public health to have a police officer escort them to a home, they don't even, maybe they don't even need to get out of the car, but just so that the public health nurse or whoever it is can feel safe. And maybe if they feel that it's someone who's, particularly belligerent, and I think as well as I do, not everybody has been cooperative with public health. Sometimes they've gotten threats and things like that. But it sounds like what you're telling me is that if you get a credible situation where a nurse calls up your department and says, can you send a deputy down? We feel a little bit nervous about this one individual, that's something you'd respond to. If
that's a legitimate complaint in regards to the person who feels their life is being threatened, yes. But if it's to cover the COVID and to cover an unlawful quarantine, no, sir, I won't do that. And also, like you said, again, I need the deputies to do that. And right now, the board's not approving the empty deputy position. So if I only have a certain number of people on the road that are tied up in other calls, then I won't be able to send you someone.
Okay.
So like I say, this comes back again to the timely fashion of refilling that position, like you've done, all of you have done in other parts of the county, filling departments, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure. My other question is just if we've got a situation, and let's say aside from quarantine, somebody who's under isolation. So let's say somebody who's tested positive for COVID, they are supposed to stay home, they're contagious, and they're out in the community. We know that they're out in the community. What kind of police response would that demand? Let's say you got a call from somebody, whether it's somebody from our board or somebody in the community that says, look, there's somebody here at my business. I know they're sick. Can you please come and do something about it? What would you do in that situation?
Well, first of all, you got to prove to me they're sick. And that's something you don't know because of HIPAA. You shouldn't know. So to make an accusation against a citizen in the community that they're sick is, that's beyond reason. And I'm not a doctor, and so I'm not going to make that call. Sorry.
Well, let's say we do have a situation where somebody is known to be sick. You get
the paperwork, sir, Counselor, and I'll gladly do whatever we need to resolve the situation. But until that point, I'm not going to, I'm not going to arrest somebody for a state edict that is not law under the law. If you want to make a public health law, we'll look at that. You want to show me a signed court order by a judge, we'll look at that. Like I said, look at it. That's all I'm telling you right now, sir.
I know in some counties they've been charging people under reckless endangerment for violating isolation orders.
I can't wait to see them face the lawsuits coming then, but I'm not willing to stick my neck out to get sued. Because as the sheriff of the county, I can be civilly sued, and none of you will cover me. You're not going to cover my bills after that. You're not going to have my department out. And I don't trust the council in this county to represent me either. I'll tell you that right up front. So go ahead.
I think you'd have qualified immunity. I wouldn't.
No, sir, you know what? Being a counselor, you ought to know that better than that. I know. If you want to contact my local sheriff's association, the New York State Association, they'll tell you that. We are not covered, sir.
So I'm just saying if somebody has COVID, they're under an isolation order, they're out in the community, and then you go and you charge that person with, let's say, reckless endangerment. And again, there's precedent for, all the way up to the Court of Appeals for charging people who expose individuals to diseases under the state's reckless endangerment statute. You're saying that you could be sued civilly? Is that
yes, sir, I can be. That's correct. Yes. Yes, I can.
Simply for charging them.
Let me ask you this: under you want me to? So you like me to go ahead with a person who's already sick, as you're saying. I don't know they are, but you're just telling me that they are. I have no proof. There's no medical papers in front of me. They're not carrying a card. There's no nurse or doctor standing by to say the sheriff they're sick and they have to be taken in. If that's the case, call an ambulance, take them back to the hospital. They're sick. I'm not a doctor.
Right. Well, the issue, obviously, we don't send ambulances out to try to make arrests on people or to.
We don't arrest people for that. We don't arrest people for an unlawful act like that. Sorry. Like I said, you're accusing someone of being sick. You show me that they are.
So if you had proof, let's say, public health, because they keep a record and they can disclose it on a need to know basis under HIPAA. If someone in public health.
So it's okay during the virus, but it's not okay when somebody has AIDS or somebody has, a bloodborne pathogen disease. Now it's okay to violate that HIPAA order and tell me that, because my officers are not allowed, sir. Hold on a second, Counselor, they're not allowed. And I can tell you, I worked during the HIV epidemic, and we weren't allowed to be told when people had the disease.
Well,
I can tell you, sir, personally, I was bit by an individual that died of that disease, and I didn't have knowledge of that. So you can darn well bet, sir, I'm going to be very careful exposing my men and women to anything else like that.
Well, the interesting thing is actually the precedent for using reckless endangerment was actually used during the AIDS epidemic. That's actually where that precedent first came up.
That's great. Maybe it was my case. Maybe it's nice to know. So
could be. Well, I mentioned that as something to keep in mind. Obviously somebody who's under an isolation order who's not complying with it, and we're not talking about quarantine, because I think what you said about enforcing the quarantine measures, I think there's some merit to that. And I want to say something I said to the rest of the board, which I appreciate that local police departments are being very, let's say, cautious in their approach to enforcing certain executive orders when there isn't a clear and present danger. Because like you said, yeah, there is a difference between an executive order and a law. But I think there's a distinction when we're talking about an isolation order where somebody is sick and they're out in the community, and there's legal precedent for charging people with certain crimes. And if you have that information, and I'm not a law enforcement expert, that. It's just something I'd encourage you to consider. But sure. I'd like to see a little bit more action, but I appreciate you coming on, Sheriff. That's my only other question. So I won't waste any more of Larry's time.
You're not wasting anybody's time, Counselor, and I appreciate the conversation, since we all haven't had an opportunity to speak in a while. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Now, how about the vehicles, Larry? We able to talk about those or no?
The vehicles, as far as I am aware, there are 6 vehicles ready to be picked up, and there are 6 vehicles flagged to turn in. So as soon as we get the VIN numbers for that, you're good to go.
Are you aware of the conversation? And I know the county manager's here, so I'm not throwing him under the bus. And he already said that. If he misspoke, he apologized. I understand that. But we sat in my office with 3 other people from my agency and the enterprise individual. We spoke about these vehicles, and the direction that we got and the conversation we had was that we'd be getting the 6 vehicles. We were aware that we had to turn in 4. We had to turn in 4 or 2 that we had, and they were told that we could make the equity up along with other vehicles. We turned them in after that. So that's why the 6 vehicles are down there. So I don't have at this point a total of 6 vehicles to give you. We have 2 to give right now, and I'll do my best to find you maybe 2 more. But once again, now I'm down a deputy, and I'm going to be down 4 cars here momentarily that I won't be able to put people in. So what I have a problem with, in all due respect, sir, to the county manager, is that when we have conversations, maybe we should all, including myself, I'll put myself there, maybe we should have a little more clarification, or we should be recording our conversations as they're recorded now. I thought, though, that a handshake and a sitting down was the way we did business, but that's okay. So the bottom line is I'm down a deputy, and I'm down 4 cars, and I need to have them.
You have the same exact number of cars as you had at the beginning of the year. You have no less cars than you had before. That's right. Simply untrue, right. What you're saying. And secondly, even if I did misspeak, I didn't have the authority. So if I did misspeak and say you could add vehicles, then I simply didn't have the authority to say that. So the board has the authority.
And Ryan, I'm good with that. You know that. I'm good with that if you didn't. But then we ought to have a legislator sitting there with us so that I can get the correct information, so that when I tell my men and women we're going to have vehicles, I don't really going to ask to them or that I'm giving misleading information.
Sheriff, this is Jerry.
Yep.
You
Place
know,
the studios
I think some of the problems, not blaming anybody, is you need to come to the committee meeting and have discussion with all legislators, and then everybody knows what's going on.
What committee meeting? This is all being done, computer.
Virtually,
You know,
we are on virtually now, and I understand that. But also, you're welcome at any time for discussion when you want to do this stuff. And at that point, and I'm not blaming anybody. It seems like it's a lack of communication. So the thing is, you say you like to present stuff and this and that. And the thing is, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not blaming Ryan or anybody else. The legislators make the final decision, and we didn't hear this, and
well, that's a problem
doesn't seem like the sport's
you were
here.
given all that information, sir, a year ago in regards to the cars. We had it all written down. We've had it on paperwork. We've passed it up through. If you haven't seen it, that's not on my end, sir. That's all I can tell you. Not on mine.
But the bottom line, I guess what I'm saying, and I'm not making an excuse, but if you come to the horse hears. And when you don't, we don't know what's been discussed, not blaming anybody.
Well, good.
And then all of a sudden it's dumped on their lap. So what I'm asking you
it's not
to
all of a
do,
sudden, sir. You've all had that information was given to you a while ago. It was discussed. And this is what we talk about.
it was discussed with who? You never discussed it with the complete committee, did you? I'm serious.
Yes.
Did you?
Yes. It's been discussed. Yes, sir. Yep. And before the whole COVID thing, we knew about these. This is all about the enterprise program. So yes, you did know.
Well,
you know what? Well, then, I'll say this always. You know where my office is. I welcome all of you. All legislators come up and visit. It's not a scary place, guys. We've been functioning this entire time during COVID.
It works both ways. It works both ways.
Yeah, if you'd like, would you like me to come down to your house? I'd be glad to come to the house and have a cup of coffee with you and discuss it. Do we want to do that? I want to come to my office.
The thing is, I think it needs to be discussed with all legislators there in a decision-making setting. That's all I'm saying.
Here we are, the last meeting of the year. Here we are, where you're going to go into resolutions and approve some things. Let's do it. We're here. That's what I was told. We're here today. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said before, I'll work with you any way I can. But it seems like you and I've talked about this before. It's when one or two people get together and have a discussion, whether it's you or me or anybody else or one member of the committee. The bottom line, the committee's not there to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Then we got to go back and some disagree and this and that. Let's discuss it as we go along and we all know where we stand. That's all I'm asking.
And I agree with you. So let's do it. We're all here today. Let's do it.
I appreciate it. So we'll make time to get you in there. We can have a person on one-on-one and we can either give you a thumbs up on some of this stuff or a thumbs down.
Okay.
And, I mean, you're welcome to have a discussion, carry it to where you want to. I mean, I respect that.
Appreciate it.
On the same aspect that I honestly, and I'm getting old in age and I'll take credit, maybe I didn't know it. I knew you were potentially getting cars from the new policy. Before that, you were wanting to buy them out directly and stuff. But we never had a discussion on how many were coming, this, that. You were getting 2 cars a year, and all of a sudden you're getting 4, which I don't have a problem with that. But you've always turned in vehicles to replace them. So,
correct.
I guess the question I have, and I'm not going to be long it and stuff like this. If you're at it with cars now and you're getting 6 more, why don't you have 6 cars to turn in?
We'll take a look. At this point, I know they don't have 6, but I'll look around harder. But I can tell you this: if you guys don't want to do that, like I told the county manager, we'll go back to 2 cars a year. We're working great coming out of the capital budget. I loved it. We're getting 2 cars guaranteed. But so that was a solid thing. So I'm good with that too.
I know you have reasons and stuff like that, and you can probably prove them to us. But the thing is that you were sufficient with cars until you got these last 6 too. We upped it to 6. So why is it making any difference that you can't turn 6 back in? Now, you may have a good reason and stuff like that, but we really haven't had that discussion, have we?
No, and I love to have that discussion. I've been asking all the time. I tell you, my office is available. Those of you who want to come up, come on up. It's safe. Andrea, I don't understand why you're shaking your head. I love to invite you, ma'am. We use disinfecting purposes. Yeah. If you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. We'll respect the 6-foot rule too, ma'am. Go ahead.
But I'm the same aspect. We function in committees. And that's what we Go ahead, Andrea.
Sheriff, we need to see you at our committee meetings. That's where we discuss things.
And,
When
and,
all the committee legislators are there.
and
It's not,
you're doing that virtually, Andrea, or are we doing it like over the computer?
We're doing it virtually now because of the
Right.
with the environment we have. Normally, we were meeting there until a month ago. And so the thing is, I mean, I promise you, we know you're busy. We can take you first on the agenda. We can have the discussion. Some of this stuff, if it surprises us, may take a little bit longer for us to decide. It may take 2 meetings. But I mean, you need to let us know what you're thinking too. And where we conduct business is in our committee meetings, not up having the ad hoc meeting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Jerry. You know what? I let you guys know all the time what I'm thinking. I don't hide a damn thing. I call you personally. I call the other members if I need to. You know where I'm at, and I definitely make it open to everybody. So, you know, I make it available to you guys all the time. I'm not one to hide stuff when it comes to my mind and what I have to say, and you all know that.
And I respect that. So, I mean, I guess the question is, I think we can make this process operate smoother. It's just that we ask, where we make our decisions is at our committee meetings where we can vote on it and stuff. We can't do it with a meeting at the sheriff's department. And I'm not sure, I have talked to the legislators if we have it, but you can go up there and explain what you want, but we'll walk away with no decision being made because we don't have the power to do it there. So, I mean, I think we both know what the problem is lack of communication. So I'm putting the foot forward to try to solve the problem.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Listen, I'll do any committee meetings I want, but I'm under the direction at times of the county manager that there is no reason for me to be there. I trust then that you've already been told that. So I'll go back to this. I'll be at every committee meeting. There's no problem with that because unfortunately I don't trust the line of communication anymore in our county government. The only way that happens is if we see each other personally. And I'll tell you this, a lot of you sit there in silence because you all know this. You're thinking the same thing that I am. And what needs to be done is for us to see each other face to face. So I agree with that.
Not during COVID. Not during COVID.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. If you're in fear of that, ma'am, I wouldn't. No, but you know what though? If you want to
sit down, I'm a little bit older than you are, and I am in fear of it, sir.
I understand that, ma'am. And I fully understand it. I have a father who's 84 years old that we keep an eye on. So I understand that tremendously. I love the rest of my family.
But we can still continue to move forward even under the situation we're under. I mean, I appreciate you being here today for discussion. I mean, it's not negative, but some of the stuff, wherever it is, and I'm not blaming anybody, we've lost the communication. When you were in there before, you brought up stuff, you brought up the thought process. And the thing is I was under the understanding, and it's maybe me too, is the fact of if you got a problem, you got the power to come to committee to have a discussion. And if we have a question where something's going on and this and that, we have the power to request you to be there. But not until just recently about the 6 cars and not trading in any, we thought everything was hunky-dory. And
that's right, we all did.
I will take credit for this being stupid enough that I didn't realize we're buying 6 new cars instead of 2, and we expected 6 in return.
Okay, so in the meantime, those cars are down there at United. They're outfitted and ready to roll. What are we going to do with them? They're going to sit down there?
Maybe.
Right now, I cannot give you an answer because we really haven't had a chance to discuss it, Sheriff.
So Legislator Moorhan, you said maybe, and in regards to that, when you say that, what do you mean by that? That's not, I mean, why would they sit there?
You need to communicate with us, Sheriff. That's the bottom line.
Andrew, I can tell you this, ma'am. I communicated with you guys for the last 9 years, and you know what? You never listen. You guys, you just don't listen enough. And then when you don't like what I'm saying, you try to shut me down or you have another hearing someplace else or committee hearing. Now, I'll say that I'll come to your committee hearings, but if I do, I would like the respect given that I have earned from you and the respect that I give back to you all with the same information. I am not nothing to hide, nothing transparent. You know what you don't like is that I tell you all the truth. And it's a tough
I would like that
when you have to go ahead and spend the money, then you have to talk to the public about that. And unfortunately, you don't give the public much of a chance to have a say in things. We saw that back before last year when we had some issues. But anyhow, I will gladly be at your meetings, Andrea. I would love to be. And I thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas.
And you
Same to
too,
you,
sir.
Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Hey, guys. Take care.
Same
Be
to
healthy.
you.
And I'm positive by everybody putting in a little effort, we can move it forward, but it takes communications, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. 100% agree. Thanks for your time, people. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great one.
You too.
Sheriff, just one last comment on your picking up the vehicles.
Yes, sir.
If those vehicles are ready and you turn in some vehicles, you can pick them up this afternoon. But
So, thank you. So if I turn in 2, we
what
can.
we're not talking about, what we're talking about here essentially is you want to increase the size of the fleet by 4 vehicles. And we have not talked about that. There's no justification to do that. So that's where we're at.
Okay, no problem, sir. We'll rediscuss it again. And we'll have it recorded and somebody that'll watch it so we know what we all talked about. I think it's a great idea and I appreciate that. So today, if I can find the 2 vehicles that we had all ready to go, if I can give you those 2 vehicles today, then you're giving me permission to go ahead and pick them up from United, correct?
As far as I'm aware, that's true. Ryan, do you have a comment on that?
If you turn in 2, you'll get 2. If you turn in 3, you'll get 3. If you turn in 4, you'll get 4.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll turn into 2, and we'll go with that. And I appreciate getting a set of wheels from you. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Merry Christmas then again.
Same to you, sir.
Same to you,
Thank
Sheriff.
you.
Take care.
Okay, so back to the first public or issue on the proposed Jefferson Lewis LED lighting upgrade plan. Is there anyone, or Connor, have you had any comments from the public that anyone would like to comment on that public hearing? If not,
I have a question for you, Larry. Can another village join in on that? Do you know?
I think all the villages, Tug Hill Commission has been working with villages, and I believe they're all eligible to, enter into this process. I know
Okay.
Defiance Falls is, I can't really speak to any of the other ones. I'm not sure.
Well, I know Martinsburg's in on it, but I think I want to see if I have to talk to them about Turn.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's open to, it's a shared services, so I would assume that anyone that has street lights would be eligible for the program.
Larry, can I just give some more information on that one?
Sure.
Thank you. So the towns and villages that are included in this year's shared services plan have already been working with NYPA. It's quite an extensive process, but in the future, if the town of Turin wants to participate with NYPA, we can submit another shared services plan for 2022 if the initiative is extended out. Right now, that it only goes to 2021, but the state is hopeful that they'll be able to extend it into years past that. So there is the opportunity for other towns and villages to take advantage of the NYPA LED program, but this particular plan only includes the ones that are near completion for 2021.
Okay.
Cassandra, I do have one question for clarification. This is Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
When that originally come out, did every town and village in the county get notice of this and have a choice whether they want to participate at that time or not? Or how do we generally do this?
Tug Hill had actually helped. Ray Cog was the initiator of this NYPA LED program, and through word of mouth, villages and towns signed on as they were informed. Our office has not handled it up until this point. It's something that really Tug Hill has helped them out with. But it's my understanding if they reached out to NYPA, and they should have been notified of that program through NYPA in years prior. It's been a process that's been going on for 2+ years. And some villages and towns have already done the upgrades with the National Grid program, and others have decided to work with NYPA. The only problem is it has a lot of upfront costs. So villages who would be able to pay off those bonds are more apt to sign on to the NIPA program rather than the National Grid program.
Okay, and I guess the other question, if you don't belong to the Tug Hill Commission, pretty much it could have slid by some of the other towns.
Nope, Village of Krogan is not in the Tug Hill Commission, and they actually were the first ones to follow through with the NIPA program from Lewis County. They were one of the first Lewis County municipalities to pursue the NIPA program.
Okay.
It's really through RACOG. Yeah, it was really initiated through RACOG, and it spread the word of mouth. But yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So with that, we will close the first public hearing on that issue, and we will open the second public hearing on proposed Jefferson Lewis County LED lighting upgrade plan pursuant to a New York State countywide shared services initiative. So we will leave that open and wait to see if Connor receives any comments on that one. I think it's been over half an hour. So are there any, Connor, have you received any comments on local law providing for increases to salary for certain local officials?
I have not seen anything posted.
Cassandra, you haven't received anything?
Not that I'm aware of at this time.
Okay, so at this point, we will close the public hearing on a local law providing for increases to salary for certain local officials.
Well, I've gotten comments on that about the local, but that was, they didn't comment in a public hearing setting. But there are some people that are pretty discouraged that our management people are receiving pay raises in this economic condition.
Well, unfortunately,
that's just a statement that I've heard. Just passing that along.
Okay, thank you. Presentations of petitions, communications, and notices. Cassandra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do not have anything to report at this time.
Okay. Reports of county officers and departments. Cassandra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brian Mooney submitted the November Sealer of Weights and Measures activity reports, which have been placed on file with the clerk of the board. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Reports of standing committees. Tom, would you like to start off with finance and rules, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion. The motion is to approve a renewal of the Lewis County Workers' Compensation Excess Liability Insurance Policy with Midwest Employers Casualty Company for calendar year 2021 at an annual premium of $80,321.
Moved by Tom. Do I have a second? Anyone care to second that, please? And second by Andrea. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Tom? Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Jerry, General Services Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I need to check with Cassandra. I got a motion that we did in committee the other day. Do we need to bring that up, authorizing the corrections officers?
Yep, we need a motion to authorize Sheriff Carpinelli to refill 2 part-time correction officer positions effective immediately.
And I'll make that a motion.
Moved by Jerry, second
it, Tom.
by Tom. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have some resolutions throughout today's packet and gladly discuss and give answers to people as we go along. And I did receive my packet yesterday. Thank you. I'm ready. Thank you.
Very
Mr.
good.
Chairman.
Any questions for Jerry? If not, we will move on to Andrea with Health and Human Services Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Cassandra, do we have any motions that we need to do today?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I just want to remind thank you, Cassandra. I just want to remind the committee that we do have a late resolution in the packet. And thank you. That's all I.
Any questions for Andrea? If not, we'll move on to Dick as our representative on the Hospital Board of Managers, please.
Yes, our meeting hasn't taken place yet due to the scheduling of December. So what I have is the employee of the month for November. I'd like to read into the minutes. The acknowledgement goes, this employee went above and beyond to make sure I got to see my mom via video, not knowing it would be the last time I would get to see her alive. I'll never forget the selflessness and joy that was brought to me that night. I can still see the twinkle in Mom's eyes when she saw me and smiled so brightly. I will forever hold that memory and be grateful that she took time from her schedule to create that memory for me. Because of her, I got to see my mother's beautiful smile one last time. Employee for the month of November is Whitney Waugh, RN in Med Surg. I encourage everyone that knows Whitney or sees Whitney, congratulate her on this honor and for her good work. And if Jerry Kerr is on this, I would open it up so Jerry could speak a little bit. Jerry, are you with us?
I don't believe it is.
Doesn't look like
him.
One thing that has come down from Department of Health is they had to sign an MOU, they being the hospital with public health, and they're being restricted on what they can give out for information some now. This is with respect to the COVID. So you're going to see a little bit different presentation on that. And it wasn't just Lewis County General. They've done it with every hospital in the state. And that's all I have, barring any questions.
Anyone have a question for Dick? If not, thank you, Dick. And we'll move on to the county manager report. Ryan, please.
I guess I'd just like to say thank you to our department heads who approach county government as a team, who work together towards a common goal, and who have gone above and beyond and given more to the taxpayers over the last 3 months than has ever been asked of them. To those departments, I say thank you. And I suppose we'll just have to work on our communication with some of the other departments.
Anyone, is that it, Ryan? Any questions for Ryan? If
I have a
not,
question. I have actually a question for Joan, if I could.
sure, go ahead, Greg.
You on there, Joan?
I'm here.
Okay. My question is concerning the pay raise that the legislators are going to be receiving.
Yes.
Now, does that come into effect on January 1 of 2021 or January 1 of 2022?
January 2021, that was in the budget that you passed.
Okay, so that we can vote ourselves a raise. I thought previously, from what I understood, was we could not vote ourselves a raise till we were in an election. Well, it is an election year, and we're reelected. The next group that got elected would receive that, not the current ones.
There's actually, there's a state controller and Secretary of State opinions allowing for boards to make, to vote for raises at any time, actually.
Really?
Yes. We looked into that the last time around.
Okay, so as long as it's in the budget, it
Yes.
just goes through and whether, okay. Well, that was not my understanding previously, but okay. So that's been researched through the state comptroller's office.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to county treasurer report. Eric, please.
I do not have any report, Chairman.
Any questions for Eric? Thank you, Eric. Report of the Finance and Rules Committee per Rule 7. Cassandra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Rules Committee reports that they have examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $1,411,756.05 and recommend that they be audited and allowed for the amounts claimed.
I need a motion to that effect, please.
Bill.
Bill, second by
I'll second it.
Greg. Any discussion? I believe that's a roll call, right, Cassandra?
Yep.
Nope, that's just a motion. The resolutions are roll
Oh,
call.
okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Have we used the 15? Yeah.
Not yet. The closing of the public hearing can be done at, I believe, 10:54.
Okay, so we're going to hold off on resolutions at this point.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, we don't need to wait because though that public hearing doesn't have a resolution that corresponds with it. It's just a public hearing.
Okay. So
Okay.
resolutions, are there any resolutions that anyone would like pulled out of the slate except or in addition to the ones that Cassandra has already flagged?
Yes, so I would just like to note on the record that we are withdrawing resolution number 350, which is to appropriate funds in the Information Technology Department that will go forward on January 5th. And we are also withdrawing resolution number 352, which is a resolution authorizing agreement between Lewis County and outside agencies due to some errors on that one.
Okay, does anyone have any other resolutions they would like to vote on individually?
We will have to do resolution 338 out of the slate because it is a roll call, as well as resolution number 339, which is adopting the local law. That will have to be done by roll call vote separately as well. And
Okay.
I believe we do the late resolutions separately, and there's 3 of those.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the slate of resolutions with considering the exceptions that Cassandra just mentioned.
I'll make that motion.
Move
Second.
Second by,
Dick.
Dick.
Yep.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, the slate motion carries.
Okay.
So now we're back to 338. Go ahead, sorry.
338, auditing and allowing claims in the amount of $1,411,756.05.
Moved by
I'll move it.
Andrea, second by Greg. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Legislator Chartrand,
Yes.
Legislator Gilbert,
Sorry, yes.
Legislator Morahan,
Yes.
Legislator Burns,
Yes.
Legislator Kalzer,
Yes.
Legislator Verkler is absent, Legislator Osborne,
Yes.
Legislator Hathaway,
Yes.
Legislator King,
Yes.
and Legislator Dahlhoff.
Yes.
Okay, the next one is resolution 339, resolution adopting and otherwise treating local law number 1-2021.
Moved by Need someone to move that, please.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ian, second by Tom. Discussion. And this is a roll call also.
Yes. Legislator Gilbert,
Yes.
Legislator Morahan,
Yes.
Legislator Verkler is absent, Legislator Osborne,
Yes.
Legislator Hathaway,
Yes.
Legislator King,
Yes.
Legislator Burns,
Yes.
Legislator Chartrand,
Yes.
Legislator Kulzer.
Yes, with discretion, I guess.
Legislator Dahlhoff.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the first late resolution is resolution authorizing agreements between Lewis County and outside agencies. This is the correct version.
I have a motion to move that, please.
Bill.
Moved by Phil, second by
Jerry.
Jerry. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? See no opposed, motion carries.
Resolution number 378, resolution amending compensation plan of County of Lewis with reference to public health office.
Moved by
Jerry.
Jerry, second by Andrea.
Okay.
Discussion.
I would hope we reach out and get a broad spectrum of people on this. That's all.
Thanks, Phil. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I see no one opposed, motion carries.
The next resolution is resolution number 379, levying taxes and assessments for annual town budgets and corrections to tax rolls.
Moved by
I'll move it.
Dick. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Greg. Discussion.
Thanks, Greg.
Is this a roll call, Cassandra?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No one opposed, motion carries.
That is all of the resolutions I have, Mr. Chairman, and we are at the appropriate time to close that public hearing if you wish.
Okay, Connor, have you received any comments on the second public hearing for proposed Jefferson Lewis County LED lighting upgrade plan?
We have not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Barring no comments, we will at this time close that second public hearing. Move on to, I believe, Ryan, Cassie, and Connor have a revitalizing Lewis County branding presentation that they would like to present. So if someone would like to carry on with that.
Yep. Cassandra has Cassie has the PowerPoint, so I'll let her walk you through it.
Perfect. 1 second. Let me get my screen share. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could. It's gone now.
Can you see it now, Jerry?
Yep.
Oh,
Mine-
hold on. It's
No,
just
mine's
loading.
good.
I lost mine.
Mhm.
There, I'll just leave it here. I won't do the presentation portion of it. So Connor, Ryan, and I have met on revitalizing Lewis County. As you know, the planning department has been really engaged in pursuing sustainability for the county and all of those options. And we've had discussions about, well, how do we support our municipalities, and are we utilizing the right tools? Are we providing the right tools to our municipalities and the public for that matter? And so part of those discussions was, well, why don't we focus another portion of our revitalizing efforts on our branding? So this initiative, since we are emerging as regional leaders in sustainability, fiscal responsibility, collaborative business development with the IDA and the Chamber of Commerce, and we're providing essential support to our local governments, we really need to build a brand or an image of Lewis County to attract business owners, to attract prospective working, people who could essentially work from home and do technology, have technology careers and do it from their living rooms. We really want to attract more businesses and hone in on a population that we haven't had access to. And we really need to reinvent ourselves that way. So why now is there's value in creating a brand image to attract businesses, residents, and tourists. And I know that you guys have put a lot of effort and work into investing in tourism development and business, small and large business development. But we really need to show what we're worth to people. And that starts with branding. You can stimulate growth and investment. And with the population decline from 2010 to 2019, according to the census, we experienced a 2.9% population decline. That is only going to increase. And we know that, we've had those discussions. So step one would be an impactful image. Currently, our letterhead uses this logo, or emblem, I should say, and others use this. I mean, it ranges. If you look at department head emails or a variety of our employee emails, they'll have signatures on their on every email, and it's different. We're not cohesive. We're all different. Some letterheads are different. So we really want to create a cohesive branding image. Here are some examples of other municipalities that took it upon themselves to look different from the typical municipal seal. So as you can see here, the city of Albany, the city of Homestead, Florida, they just celebrated their centennial in 2013, and they upgraded their image. This is Lewis, Washington. That's something that we've used really to benchmark what we hope to emulate, but just having the trees and it's, very regal and up to date. That's kind of what we're looking for with a new image. As for step two, we have to go beyond the image. We have to look at our website. Is it really serving the purpose, or is it serving our citizens to the best extent possible? Municipal websites are known to be a landing place where citizens learn about government history, organizational values, code of ethics, and information about you, our elected officials. As it stands now, I don't know how many of you are able to find information easily on our website. I know that I have a difficult time walking the public through where to find our minutes, where to find our board meeting videos. They're kind of hidden throughout our website. Sprinkled is the way I like to refer to it as. There's some departments that utilize their web pages, and there's some that don't. Transparency is key. We really want to make sure that the public can access any information pertaining upcoming meetings, resolutions, initiatives that the county is pursuing. And in addition to that, mobile access. Our website as it stands now is not very user friendly when it comes to mobile access. So our hope is that we can create a website that would be user friendly. So I put together some examples for you. And here's, again, Lewis County, Washington, which I'm sure we get a lot of hits on our website, people thinking that we're Lewis County, Washington. So in the main image is just the main page of the website when people access it. So it's captivated, it grabs your attention. As you can see, the font that's used in the logo, the updated logo, is used throughout the website. So it's very cohesive, and people can identify just the font with the location, with the municipality. And then I added an image here. If anybody were to Google this on their phone, this is what would show up. It's very easy to find information, to scroll through side to side. Here's another captivating website. This is the Village of Glenview, Illinois. Again, these aren't really popular, densely populated areas, but look at the captivating images, and all of the information is right here at your fingertips. Again, transparency up here, contact us, payments online, service requests. So it's just that easy. It's, you know, little things that we can tweak that can make us more interesting to prospective developers, people who want to move here, move their families here. We really want to showcase the positives of living here in Lewis County. So a cohesive image of Lewis County. As you can see, naturally Lewis has a very up-to-date logo, and the county, Lewis County Chamber of, oh, I apologize. I am working from home for precautionary measures with COVID, and one of my
Cassie, don't worry. Go ahead. I'll take over. We got it. Don't worry. So
Naturally Lewis.
the point is, if you lined up the three brands that we're trying to build in Lewis County, you've got the Naturally Lewis brand, you've got the Chamber of Commerce Adirondack Tug Hill, and then you've got our 1805 County Seal Skyhand. You know, it doesn't exactly build the same image that we're trying to portray across all of the county functions. So what we'd like to do to start, and the website is a little bit down the road, I think, but to start, and we thought we'd have a little fun in our last meeting of the year, is we'd like to spend just a little bit of money to get some mock-ups of some other examples of some other logos that we could have. And so we were hoping we could just have a mini brainstorm with the legislators. What are some elements that you would like to see in, you know, if we were to produce a new logo that would truly represent an image of Lewis County that we want to portray? What would those elements be? Would it be agriculture? Would it be the Adirondacks, recreation, the Black River? What are those elements that you folks want to see? And we'll tie that into to sending that to some designers and see what they can come up with. So that's the goal. We'll open it up to the board. Cassie, did I get that about right? Okay.
Yep, and I can share my screen too. Again, I think she's calmed down now. So let me just share so you guys can have some visuals in front of you. So here's what other municipalities, and again, these are all municipalities, and we don't want to overlook our image thinking that we're not a business, because essentially we are going to be attracting, like we have to change our image to match our initiatives that we've been pursuing for the last several years.
Well, Cassie, I noticed on that Glenview, Illinois, that one. Yeah. Yep. Well, you know, I find the one that the Channel 7 News shows, where it actually picks up the wind towers, and then it picks up it picks up Bill Burke's house and Steiner's farm. I find that to be somewhat of an attractive photo. Okay. You know, where it picks it up. I don't know if you've seen that on the Channel 7 News.
No, I haven't. But we can look at that too. Right. And it's all about...
we actually sent that to them, Greg, because they kept using the sign, the green road sign that said Lewis County that had bullet holes in it. So we sent them, Brittany and I sent them a graphic and said, stop using the road sign.
Yeah. Well, that is a kind of a picturesque view. You know, I mean, you know, we're promoting green energy, green power, you know, green community. So, you know, I mean, that's one of our promotions anyway. So I just thought that was a kind of a picturesque view.
I agree.
I'd like to see a combination, an emblem consisting of perhaps maybe an ATVer, a snowmobiler, promoting recreation somehow, where, you know, tourism is becoming bigger and bigger in our county, and maybe somehow do a a background picture with a windmill in it, with a landscape of Tug Hill. I'm just brainstorming here, throwing ideas out. Some combination of those elements that we're trying to advertise the county for, particularly tourism being, the chief, even perhaps a horseback rider. We're limited to space, so there's only so much we can put in there. But I think tourism is something that we really need to promote to our best ability.
I agree with that too. I would take a little bit maybe in a different direction just to emphasize more of a minimalist look. And when you're talking about a logo, the thing that came to mind was like in Chicago, they have a logo, and I think it was in one of the slides that you had there, but nobody knows what the logo is. When you think of Chicago, you think of the flag, and it's the flag. It's got, I think, like 2 blue stripes and 4 stars. It's very simple. A child could draw it, but the 4 stars represent 4 events that happened in the history of Chicago. And
no beer in there, is there?
What's that? I think that the flag of Milwaukee has beer in it.
They don't drink beer in Chicago, Ron.
I was just talking to Pichet.
But I think this is a great idea. And, I'd like to see, quite honestly, something that people would put on, like hoodies or backpacks or that kind of thing, I don't know, like the High Peaks badge, like anybody can recognize that kind of thing. And immediately what it is, and you don't have to read what it says on it. But I think rebranding, that's money well spent. And I think there's a lot of potential there. But I like the idea of going for tourism. Obviously, you want to kind of emphasize the things that you're good at and you're known for. And we're known for being a rural community. We're known for agriculture, and we're trying to encourage tourism. So, like outdoor recreation, those are definitely our strong suits. But don't go overboard in trying to include too many things too.
Hey, Kat, can you scroll down to slide number 9? There we go. So we want to definitely try to match, these elements, right? So they all kind of go together. So just a reminder.
Yeah, I love the Tug Hill one. I think that looks great.
We were looking at utilizing that green and blue color scheme to really hone in on the sustainability of Lewis County and where we're really looking to go there with the environment and agriculture for that matter. So, yeah, we definitely wanted to make sure that all of these logos could be essentially on the same sheet of paper. And not to do a shameless plug, but one logo that I didn't put in here is Lewis County Public Transportation. We use the same color scheme. So it certainly would work well all on one document, all on the same website. It wouldn't look out of place. So that's this color scheme, at least we're looking at.
Yeah.
It might be too much for a logo, but I'd like to see maybe something that ties in with the recreation, our 4 distinct seasons.
If I can make a quick note about the as far as the image and having sort of your image doesn't necessarily have to be one logo. It can sort of encompass an image can have multiple facets. So if you think about the Lewis County, Washington, if you don't mind pulling that up, Cassie, we talked about the font. You see up in the top, it says Lewis County, Washington, and they have that distinctive font, which shows up in their logo. Not all logos look good in all media. So that logo might not look good on a letterhead, might not look good in certain things, but it's going to look great in other areas. So an image might even really have 2 or 3, I don't want to call them disparate logos, but an image is more than just one logo. And so when it comes to having even our live streams, right now we have an image in the bottom, a little watermark that says Zoom. If we had our own, properly done logo and media, we could have Lewis County's logo or Lewis County show up in our distinctive font, kind of in the watermark in our videos. This kind of, and with everything going digital, having good digital copies of our branding initiative is going to help us in all of our media, and it's going to make us look more professional and more accessible to the public. So just wanted to make that point.
This is Jerry. I guess I got, a couple questions. One of them is, if we have one for the county to get people's attention, why couldn't, as your interests change, or whether you like high peaks, whether you like snowmobiling, boating, hiking, whatever, there's another logo that once you go into Lewis County that associates what people choose to do. Would that be too complicated and too cluttered?
I think that's a cool idea, Jerry. You have like a basic, like Ian's, I actually like what Ian said about keeping it very simple, easily replicable, so that it can really be ubiquitous symbol for Lewis County. But if you had something simple and then you could match it with a different type of background depending on the season, snowmobile, trail, water, all those different things, I think that's kind of a really neat idea.
Or even list it. Once they come to Lewis County, this is what we offer. They can go to the whatever ones that pique their interest. And the only other thing I think we need to commit to, we spent a good deal of money to get our last logo, and we voted as a legislative body that this is what we'd be using. And apparently somewhere it got lost along the system. So we need to make sure when we go through this, which I support 100%, that everybody's going to be using it.
I agree. I think that all documents need to be updated. Fonts need to be distributed. Yes, I absolutely agree.
Yep.
So thank you.
I'd build off Jerry's idea too about, you can kind of make it a modular type logo where you have some minimalist aspects of the logo that can be transferred onto different icons, or you have, an image for tourism, an image for business, an image for residents, something that, they can all kind of roll up into one logo that brings them all together. You can make it, again, like I said before, you're not looking at one logo, you're creating an image, and that kind of expands across just a logo. It's your fonts, it's your different images, it's your different icons and stuff when it comes to a website, but also what it's going to look like on paper. And just seeing it play out across your different departments.
Yeah, so I think we've got some good elements that we can take and get some mock-ups. We're not looking to spend a lot of money, like where we talked like less than a couple $1,000, maybe $5,000, just to get some basic mock-ups. We'll bring them back to the board for feedback, and hopefully we can build one out and find something that fits, really matches the image and the branding that some of our other groups have done in Lewis County. So thanks.
Ryan, I got one more question, and don't beat me, but I got to ask it. Once we come up with something we like, what about getting the public involved for approval of what one we end up with?
I think that'd be really fun. I think it'd be fun to do an online vote or something like that. I think that would be really cool. Yeah. I think there's a lot that we can do. And you know what? The more you get the public to buy in and feel like they have ownership, the more we'll advance our goal of getting them to, to kind of take it with pride and put it on, stickers and hoodies and stuff like that. Yeah.
Brian.
So it sounds like you're not going to tar and feather me. Thank you.
Ryan, one thought I had might be fun to explore is maybe doing some kind of or taking art submissions from the local schools, like the art programs, and see, because some of them I'm sure would be interesting. Graphic design, it's a great sort of thing to put on a resume, and it's free talent in the community. So it might be, and even if we end up with some designs and we narrow it down from those and then put it to a vote in the community, that might be a fun way to do it.
What's their capability right now, the way we're set up?
Right. Yeah.
Is getting access to what they need to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Being virtual is the only.
I think that's a cool idea. We can send that out to the school superintendents and, have some of the media do a story on that. I'm sure Nick and Julie would love to cover something like that. And, we can see what comes in. And then, you take all those different options and you pick and choose what you like, what you don't like, and you come up with, with something that kind of fits the needs. So, yeah, we're not looking for any decisions or anything today. Just wanted to kick it off. We thought it'd be a fun initiative for 2021, and you know, our sky hand with the scales of justice is very good, but it doesn't really tell people about what we are and what type of community we are. And I think we can make some improvements there.
Okay, thanks, Cassie and Ryan. Next on the list is we need an executive session for Joan to discuss litigation. So if someone would make that motion, please.
I'll make it.
Moved by Ron. Do I have a second?
Tom,
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
So we will enter into, let's take a 5-minute break to give Connor time to decouple us from live stream and whatever Sandra has to do, and we'll regroup in 5 minutes.
I
We're gonna
thought
stay in
you,
the same locations?
Yeah, don't move, Ron. We don't want to lose you.
Okay.
thanks for giving the old people time, Larry.
Cassie,
You gotta
thanks.
keep
That's
Ron
what
on
I
a
do.
short leash, though. He'll be gone if we give him too much time.
Oh, that's right.
You know me too well.
He's busy.
Oh.